Coming up on Locked On NBA Daily, Victor Wembanyama has a chance to swing the championship, but what other 23 and under players will matter the most this upcoming NBA season? Plus, a look at the revamped Pistons lineup. Locked On NBA Daily starts now.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily. I'm Wes Goldberg. That's Moore and Haize. Really excited for today's show because we're talking about the most important young players in the league, but we're going to limit the scope to players who are currently 23 years old and younger. I don't want to just ask everybody who is the best player of this group, right? That's no fun. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on who is going to matter the most among this group for the upcoming season. So some of this is definitely situational and obviously based on the players themselves, but I think the best way to do this is draft style. So we flipped a coin before we started recording here. Matt won the coin toss, and therefore he got to decide the order. Matt's going to go first, then me, and then Haize. I guess we'll do it snake draft style. We'll do this for a couple of segments, but Matt, lead us off. Who's going number one?
First off, your selection of 23 years of age is really kind of annoying to me this morning because it's a beautiful day here in Colorado. I got some good sleep, feeling good. So I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. All right, so Amen Thompson is where I'm going to
Taylor Swift references in the first minute and a half of the show. I like it.
Amen Thompson is where I'm going to start. So we are not doing like the best for those listening. That would be Victor Wembanyama. But you could just go ahead and like, Victor's awesome. He's amazing. Defensive player of the year for like 1,700 years. Yeah.
Can we just take Victor? Are we just agreeing we just take Wemby off the board as just like this obvious?
Yeah. I mean, his team is
okay.
a championship contender team. He's clearly the most important.
Yeah, he's gonna.
All right, congrats to Wemby. You win whatever this is.
He's gonna matter the most. But Amen Thompson, I think, is a really fascinating story because when you start to like kind of dive into a lot of the stuff with him, he comes away as a lot more influential and a lot better and with a lot more potential, I think, than what his season kind of looked like. And yes, he still has the Thompson problem of not being able to hit a reliable jump shot, but immense assist creation. And I forget who it was that did this. I'll try and track it down and post on Twitter. Somebody posted basically like a play type description of how he and his brother had kind of diverged. And one thing that really was apparent was that Amen's much more of a playmaker. And this is what I've seen from him in his career is that I think Amen has the capacity to be a really good playmaker. Now, forcing him to be a point guard on a Kevin Durant team, probably a little bit early, but I do think that he's got real capacity as somebody you can give the ball to, operate pick and roll, operate in isolation, and have him find targets. Like his passing, I think, is the most exciting part of his offensive game. And if he's able to kind of take a step forward with that, if he's able to kind of, overcome and bounce back from last year where there was so much pressure on him and take a step forward this year, like that's something that could change the Rockets' trajectory and get them back into where they thought they were, which was a real title contender. I think Amen Thompson, I think, is one of the most important players under 23 this season.
Haize, what do you think?
No, I agree with that. I think a number of the players on the Rockets you can make a conversation for, which I'll be making later on, because like the Rockets didn't make a whole lot of changes. Yes, you're getting Fred VanVleet back here. It's second year of this team mainly being together, so you're looking at if they really want to get to where they thought they were going to when they made the Kevin Durant trade, you're going to need a number of those young players to step up this season.
I guess my one concern with Amen Thompson is he's never going to be able to shoot the ball. I've pretty much given up on that. You don't see a guy go from shooting 22% for his career to suddenly becoming a great three-point shooter. Or even a good one. If that's just going to be off the table for him, Matt, to your point, he almost has to be a playmaker. Like he's got to have to do something, right? And if you can't shoot, you better be able to make plays with the ball. And that's sort of that's the path for Amen to be an impactful offensive player.
With players that have shaky shooting, the thing I always say about them is, okay, how many other areas of the game can you affect if you're not shooting well? And because he's one of the best two-way players of the league, he still averaged 18 points. He was 39th in the NBA in scoring without a reliable three-point shot. I think it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Well, two things here. One, if you look at Amen, he jumped last season in free throw percentage from 68 to 78. That's a massive jump. And if you're listening to this and you're like, Matt, free throw is not a three. Yes, I know. But the shooting experts always pointed to free throw percentage as the indicator of whether or not your form is correct enough for you to be able to build on it. That's a pretty significant jump. Then I think if you look at where he shot from mid-range, 40%, so that's 38th percentile. Wah, wah. But it's not the second percentile he shot from three, which means that there is something there. There is the ghost of, there's a tadpole of a jump shot. You just got to get it into a frog. You got to be able to mold it. I'm not sure that I'm willing to say he's never going to be a jump shooter, Wes. The odds are definitely in your favor. He won't be. But I'm not sure that I'm really willing to go ahead and say never. Unlike Dyson Daniels, who I'm like, no. Dyson Daniels is never going to be a good shooter.
I'm next, I guess. I'm going to go Dylan Harper with my pick here.
Nice
I'm going to stick to the Spurs. Yeah, I mean, Wemby's off the board. We're not talking about Wemby, but I do think for the Spurs to hit their highest level and to ultimately get back to the finals, maybe even win a championship, Dylan Harper, they're gonna need him to be their guy on offense. As good as Victor Wembanyama is, I think he's obviously the number one guy on their defense. If Harper can really develop into what his ceiling is offensively, now we're talking about this Kobe Shaq style duo that can dominate the league for several years. I look at Dylan Harper. I was split between Harper and Castle in terms of the two Spurs guards. I'm going Harper here because of that capacity that he has offensively and what that could mean for the Spurs and their ceiling. And Dylan Harper was really impressive down the stretch of his rookie year. I don't mean to put a bunch of pressure on him going into his second year, but we saw what this guy is capable of. And if he can start hitting that ceiling or start, developing and taking a leap here in his second year, obviously that dramatically impacts the rest of the league because we're looking at a team that was just in the NBA Finals potentially getting back there. So that's my pick.
What did we see in terms of his impact? What did we see? What did we really see, Wes?
The ability to score in bunches and to handle the ball without turning it over.
But never initiate the action. We saw him as a trigger man, as in terms of everybody else does everything else, and then they don't cover Harper the way that they need to, and he gets downhill and he scores. Saw that. Shooter.
Matt, you don't like anything. Matt is always so pessimistic on everything and everybody. It's just God, man, come on.
I've talked very strong. I have tried very hard to be more positive and optimistic about a number of things on the show. My thing here is that I think everybody is overestimating Dylan Harper based off of the fact of how that series went down versus the Spurs.
Let me ask you this though, man. In fairness, do you think that sometimes, and I do agree that there's a bit of overreacting sometimes from fans, but do you think that sometimes in reacting to the overreaction that we can kind of overdo it sometimes and we then overlook some of the things that he does well? And I mean us as evaluators of basketball, I think we all fall into that sometimes.
I don't think we do it enough. I think there's too much. I think especially for young guys, I think there's too much of oh, well, yeah, but he's young. And that makes up for all of the mistakes and all the questions and everything else. He's only going to get better, as if every player has only ever gotten better. My point here is this. Okay, Wes, there's two options here. They move Fox, which they've indicated they don't want to do and are not going to do, in which case he's just a bench player coming off the bench because he's not going to take Stephon Castle's job. He's going to continue to be a bench player. How is he going to be most impactful that way? Can you make an argument there? And then I got the other one for you.
I don't really care whether or not Harper's starting or coming off the bench. I mean, he averaged 22 plus minutes per game last year. He's going to average more. They're going to figure out ways to get him on the court. They'll play three guards if they have to. That's the luxury you have when you have Victor Wembanyama in the middle. I just think that, look, I'm not saying that he's going to develop into this player this season, but in terms of swing guys who can really impact what happens I thought and how this season plays out.
If you're talking about if you're talking 5 years, yeah, I'm with you 100%. But I thought it was for this season who are going to be the most impactful players.
No, that's what I'm talking about. I think if he takes a leap here, even a mini leap, I'm saying he doesn't have to take the leap into his ultimate form this year, but if he even takes a mini leap this year, which I think he will because we saw him develop even as a rookie, he's a guy who could swing things this year. If he's even a little bit better, that matters for San Antonio, right? Yeah. If he's able to take on more of that offensive load like you were talking about, I think that really matters.
If they give him the ball more, my counter is I don't think anybody got the scouting book on him because I don't think he was on first page scouting report. I think their list was Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox. And I think that if Harper moves into a larger role, teams are going to be like, oh, this is how you guard him. The book's going to get out on him. And then things are going to slow down. That's just where I'm at with Dylan Harper. I think that over the next 5 years, Dylan Harper is going to be Dylan Harper has a chance to be a top 5 player in the league. That's a positive statement, Haize. I think he has absolutely the ability to be like better than Tony Parker ever was. That's a positive statement, Haize. I'm talking about right now with where his trajectory is and what we're basing this off of, which is he was in a very unique position for this playoff run for the San Antonio Spurs.
Haize, we're gonna get your pick after the break. We're gonna get into as many of these as we can.
Saving the black guy for
Pistons
last,
rotation.
man.
It's all
That's
coming up.
crazy.
The problem of finding clothes that you can live in all day, be comfortable, and do whatever you need to do, whether it's just chilling, going to meetings, playing golf, being on the move, that problem has been solved by Cozy Earth. The everyday polo is the answer. It's lightweight, built to move with you, just easy to wear everywhere. I've got it on right now, and it's fabulous. Plus, the Cozy Earth Essential Socks, they're exactly what the name suggests. Soft, supportive, comfortable enough that you stop thinking about them halfway through the day. Plus, Cozy Earth backs everything with a 10-year warranty and hassle-free returns. So if something isn't quite right, you're covered. That makes trying them for yourself an easy decision. I've got the Cozy Earth Everyday Polo in blue and in black. Check them out at CozyEarth.com. Use the code LOCKEDON for 20% off. That's right, Locked On for an exclusive 20% off. And if you see a post-purchase survey, please mention you heard about it right here, CozyEarth.com.
Welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily. Thanks so much for making us your first listen every day. Best way to support the show, subscribe on YouTube. We are Monday to Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, wherever you get your podcasts. Haize, you're up next. The under 23 or under player who will impact the season.
I just want to say I live for moments to make Matt break like that. That brings great joy to my life. Şengün, I'm going out for Şengün here. I think for a lot of the same reasons that Thompson got brought up. I think if Şengün actually makes that leap, and I know the whole baby Joker thing, I'm not even saying he needs to necessarily live up to that, but like the stats are there. The stat line is perfectly fine for him, but it's more how he is in those in-between moments, how he deals with physicality, those type of things. Like the numbers can stay perfectly fine, but I just want to see him refine and become a better player. If he does that, I think it helps the Houston Rockets be a more serious championship contender this season for sure.
He's got such potential. He's got so much potential. He's got so much ability, and you know, the 3-point shot did not come through for him last year after that Eurobasket, I think Eurobasket run. Thank you. He like that was going to be the thing that was going to separate him. The chemistry with him, KD, is not great, but like the reason that I've been talking to so much about trading Alperen Şengün is because I think there's so much opportunity for him somewhere else. I don't think his coach likes him, and I don't think his star teammate believes in him the way that you need the star teammate to believe in him. But I think that kid does have an incredible, I guess he's still a kid, does have incredible ability. He's got great feel for the game. He's better defensively than he gets credit for. He's really good in space. He can't play drop, but you can switch with him a little bit. And he's so versatile. You can play him at 4 or 5 in so many different combos. Like there's a lot of ways that this can go down. He does need to get, I think, the jumper reliable, and he's got to be a little bit more aggressive. I think this might be one of those situations of don't try and fit in, try and fit out. Like just play your game, Alperen Şengün, and they need to build more out. Like there's a real capacity for them to build some great stuff with Reed Shepherd, Alperen Şengün, and then Thompson.
Yeah,
but that means that they're going to have to like move away from Kevin Durant. Please save us. They got to move Kevin Durant to a different role if that's going to happen.
Moving Kevin Durant into more of like a play finisher and a bailout option at this stage might be the way to go if you can kind of get more of your offense out of Amen Thompson, Alperen Şengün. They obviously have Fred VanVleet coming back. I'm up next. I'm going to be quick with this one. I think it's an easy and obvious one that we have to mention. It's VJ Edgecombe.
Yep.
I mean, he's the second-year guy on that starting 5 in Philadelphia. There is major opportunity for Edgecombe to play a really big role on a team that wins a lot of games and might go far in the playoffs. To me, this is just an obvious pick, and I really like Edgecombe's fit next to LeBron. We have seen LeBron James unlock guys who are awesome off-ball cutters like Edgecombe, and Edgecombe's off-ball cutting, his ability to eat up space right away is huge. It's a little weird having to put Edgecombe in this kind of box at this early in his career, but as sort of an off-ball 3-and-D guy, he has all the tools to make it work. So I think he's going to thrive in this role. I love his attitude. I think he'll embrace it. So I'm going VJ here. Matt, that means you're up next.
This one's tough because there's like a lot of guys.
Wait a second. Did you skip me? It's Snake. Shouldn't I have went twice in a row?
Oh yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
More marginalization on this show. It's crazy. This is
True.
wild. What's happening
Yeah.
today? Like,
It's all
what's
coming out.
going on?
It's all coming out now. Hey,
We're now not doing-
you want VJ?
By the way, he is not. By the way, he is never really. He struggles every time with remembering that we do.
No, I know. I'm just
I just
messing
think in
with
general,
Wes.
for whatever reason, snake drafts are like Wes. Wes can't keep the rules
Can't
for
do
make it, take it, or snake drafts correct.
Wes
not a
just
rule
doesn't
guy.
like rules. He doesn't like good food. It's just there's so many things stacking up for Wes. I'm actually going to go outside the box here. I wouldn't think that I would have picked him this high, but I do think Jalen Duren in a lot of ways, because I think, not only how he should be frustrated and upset and coming to the season trying to kill everybody. And an upset big man who can play as strong as Jalen Duren, it should be scary around the NBA. Now, I'm not sure that it will, but I think a Jalen Duren that comes in, plays angry, plays mean, and also like looks at how his last two playoffs is winning, says, no, it's not going to happen this season, could do a lot for this Detroit Pistons team. And I think that, as much as I'm not high on John Collins, I think John Collins is a really good power forward to have next to him. So I think Jalen Duren really coming into the season on fire and trying to take it a step further for his game to help Detroit actually make that next step as a team.
Yeah, he's so good. I'm writing a whole thing on him. He has gotten screwed by. Honestly, he's gotten screwed by his own team in a number of ways. His coaching staff set him up to fail in the playoffs, and then everybody killed him for it. And now that's resulted in him getting squeezed in restricted free agency and everyone being like, well, yeah, you were terrible in the playoffs. This guy was an all NBA center who's awesome. You got to put him in the right positions versus the coverage. Like, I'm telling you, what happened to him in the playoffs was way more about what they did with their offensive decision-making than it was about what Jalen Duren did. That guy is awesome. And he's going to be incredible in this league for a very long time at a position where you need good guys. Man, this is this is tough, right? Do I do Colin Knippel and like him having an opportunity to be the guy in Charlotte? Do I take Reed Shepherd for our third Houston guy, which would be really interesting because I do think he's got shades of Steve Nash. Keontae George, who I think is really but I'm gonna take Cooper Flagg. That guy absolutely filled it up last year in scoring ways that I was not really ready for. I thought Cooper was going to be much more of a, hey, look at all the cool things he does. Much more like Cade Cunningham that first year, where it's like, oh, he can't shoot, but God, look at the stuff he can do defensively, and he's going to be an engine. And then like Cooper was just like, well, what if I just score 40 points every other game for a month? Like, what if I just drop these 30 balls consistently and wind up swiping Rookie of the Year? I think that if Cooper takes another step forward, if his shot doesn't go away, if that's sustainable, like you're talking about like a guy that's already going to be knocking on top 20 in this league. And that's going to inherently raise the ceiling of the Mavericks. Like if Flagg is that guy already, that changes what, like we talked about him yesterday about how I don't think that they're going to be in the play-in tournament. That's because I have more realistic expectations of Cooper Flagg based off of his age. If I'm just like missing it and he is that guy with his ability to pass and defend, the Mavericks are going to be legit competitive. And Flagg has shown that kind of ability. So I think Cooper Flagg has to be on this list just for his sheer ability to make an impact in so many areas of the game.
Haize, you mentioned when we were doing our Dallas Rotation Lab segment earlier this week that maybe the Mavericks were a team that could potentially push for a spot in the play-in tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the bet on the Cooper Flagg ceiling, basically?
That and as long as Kyrie's still on the team and healthy, that too. Like the Cooper Flagg taking another step, and also now you have a healthy Kyrie. I think just overall the Mavericks have so many just productive veterans between Gafford, Lively, PJ Washington that if Cooper Flagg makes another step and Kyrie's healthy, I can see them contending for that playing spot.
Can we rapid fire some?
Yeah, hit me.
Okay. Cason Wallace, who's extension eligible. If they get him on a sweetheart deal, I'm going to be so annoyed. That guy is so good.
I thought for sure you were going to pick Cason Wallace. I almost picked him for my last one, but I wanted to leave him for you. I was very surprised you didn't go that way.
If I would have got a third pick, that's who I would have picked.
If they do not sign him to an extension, that's going to be really interesting. Like that's going to be the first like real contract challenge for the Thunder. Is like,
Haize,
yeah, good.
So Haize, do you want to shout out somebody?
I'll say Jalen Tyson, actually.
Yeah.
I really like Jalen Tyson's game, and I think that if he makes another step, that it can really change the dynamic there quite a bit. I love Jalen Tyson's game.
We did a segment, was it last week, about guys we were wrong on the Scout, did not see it at all with Jalen Tyson going into that draft. I was like, kind of undersized, doesn't do anything at a high level. Not really seeing it. I might have been wrong about Jalen Tyson. I'm starting to like him. I think, guys, are Locked On NBA Daily All-Stars for this upcoming season starting to take shape a little bit as we kind of talk through some of these teams
A little
going into
bit.
the year? I'll go Colin Murray Boyles in Toronto. I think
Yeah.
there's a real chance for him to be a difference maker for what could end up being, depending on what happens with Kawhi, a really important team in the Eastern Conference. He might end up being their best defender on what could be a top 5 defense this year if they get Kawhi. So I'll go him.
I got a half court shot. Common Malawash.
There you go.
Do you guys see him at Summer League?
Man, he looked great at summer.
Mhm.
Even hitting the 3?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, yes.
They slow played him and let him learn for a year. I love it when teams actually let a guy redshirt to get his feet wet in the NBA, especially for a guy like Malawash. If he's actually able to provide Booker with a reliable pick and roll partner, and you've got the development that they've seen from the other guys, that would be very exciting for Phoenix because they need something, honestly, because they're just running it back. They need some sort of jump, and Malawash is their best bet.
It's a great call, and it's one of those things where we talked about this being exactly the scenario when they drafted Malawash, that they're going to have to redshirt him for a year. He's probably a year away from being able to be a difference maker out there. And then that year happens to plan, and then we all kind of just forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, this was the plan all along. If he's good, it should not be surprising, but it will be encouraging and a lot of fun to watch. So it's some great shout-outs there at the end. The Detroit Pistons revamped their roster a little bit this offseason, and they do have some questions about the rotation overall. Is it enough to get them over the hump in the Eastern Conference? We're going to talk about that next here on Locked On NBA Daily. Don't go anywhere. Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp has been a widely used online therapy platform, and today the focus is on why so many people continue to choose it. If you're curious, you can actually see what people are saying by visiting betterhelp.com/reviews, where real customer reviews are updated daily. BetterHelp has an average live therapy session rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on more than 1.7 million client session reviews, and hearing directly from people who have used this service helps paint a clearer picture of why so many people continue to recommend it. More than 6 million people globally have used BetterHelp. To get started, you can answer a few questions, get matched with a therapist based on your needs, and if it's not the right fit, you could switch therapists at any time. BetterHelp therapists have at least 3 years and 1,000 hours of hands-on experience, along with the required education, training, and certifications that you need. You can see the reviews, see what stands out, and see if BetterHelp is the right fit for you. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. We'll be right back. Thanks so much for making Locked On NBA Daily part of your daily routine and making us your first listen every day. Stay tuned throughout the offseason as we cover the biggest stories. We're hopping back into the rotation lab, taking on one team and building out its opening night rotation. And today, we're talking about the Detroit Pistons. Haize, kick us off with the starters.
The Detroit Pistons starters. I don't think very much really changes about that except John Collins going into that starting lineup. So, of course, we got Cade Cunningham there as their starting point guard, no doubt. Duncan Robinson's probably still going to be the starting 2. Asur Thompson, John Collins, Jalen Duren.
Really like that starting 5.
Yeah.
I really like that starting 5. Bench. Dennis Jenkins coming off the bench as the backup point guard. Dennis was an absolute revelation last season. Was not good in the playoffs, but he's young, got time to work on it. They had Isaiah Joe, who I think is probably going to get a lot of time at the backup shooting guard. That gives them some more spacing options. I do like the idea of them getting Duncan Robinson and Isaiah Joe on the court a little bit with Collins at the 4 or even Ron Holland in the small ball lineup. Especially like if you're able to go to, because Paul Reed's going to be your backup 5. No Isaiah Stewart. He's in Memphis where he will be in many, many fights. Javonte Green is another good combo. Like they have a lot of interesting combos that they can build here. You can build a shooting lineup with Duncan Robinson and Isaiah Joe, and then back that up with Ron Holland and Paul Reed in more of a switch all 5 option. You can add Javonte Green in there for spacing as well. I was so annoyed nobody went and got Javonte Green in free agency. He's the exact kind of guy that I think a lot of teams need. They've got Kevin Huerter kind of rolling around. Abuka Okori, kind of interesting, like just kind of an interesting, like middle of the season. It's January. Dennis Jenkins is out with an ankle injury. Oh, look, Okori came in, had, 9 points and 6 assists. Like, I think he can actually give them a little bit. They got Tolu Smith banging around as well. Gary Harris, who I think is pretty much cooked. So it's a pretty tight rotation here. We're talking about playable players, I think, for the rotation in the regular season. Jenkins, Joe, Taurean Prince, Ron Holland, Javonte Green, and Paul Reed. That's basically your bench options.
Haize, now that we've gotten through some of the players, or really the rotation players, we went into the season, the offseason, talking about, okay, the Pistons, they need spacing, they need some playmaking. Do you think they've done enough to address those issues?
They've addressed it. Have they done enough? I don't know. You're really hoping that a player like John Collins and that shooting is going to be legit, and that could be shaky sometimes. And even Duncan Robinson, like he can come and go. So I think they've addressed it on paper. I just don't know if it's going to be enough in the margins.
I fundamentally disagree with the playmaking notion. I think this is what happens when basically NBA Twitter gets onto a buzzword, and then we all talk about it all summer. Oh, this is what you need. In 2023, it was continuity with the Nuggets. In 2024, it was shooting with the Celtics. In 2025, it was defensive switchability with the Thunder. We do this every year where it's like, you need this. This is the thing. The Pistons would have made the conference finals and might honestly have even gone further than that. Like, it was not insane to think that they could have beaten the Knicks if Cade Cunningham had been better at making his reads and if the shooters had been more ready. Tobias Harris just really honestly wasn't a great three-point shooter that last year. I think John Collins can actually improve on that, and he adds more athleticism and defense. Like, they've improved on their strength. Isaiah Joe is a incredible shooter. They add Taurean Prince, incredible shooter. Like, I think this team addressed what they needed to, which was they needed more spacing. So that capacity makes me like them a little bit more, honestly. I like this Pistons roster better than I did last year's team.
How do you think they balance, you have a guy like Asar Thompson and Ron Holland, right, who are very similar in the fact that they're mostly just defensive-leaning players and kind of negatives or non-factors offensively. Then you add people like Isaiah Joe to the mix and these other players. Matt, how do you see them balancing? Because you were talking about some of the combos that they can get to. Like, how are they going to balance the defense versus the shooting part of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough, right? I think one of the things that you could do is, this sounds crazy because nobody really talks about him. Taurean Prince, again, is like 2 years ago, he was the best spot-up shooter in the NBA. Like, he was absolutely ridiculous. He was insane. And so he's got the size for you to be able to play these kind of combos that you can get to. Because one of the things you can get to is you can get to a Duren with Taurean at 4, and then you can run Holland at the 3, and then you can run Asar at the 2, and then run Dennis Jenkins. So you've got Jenkins who's able to space and Prince who's able to space. It's 2 spacers with 3 defenders. And yeah, it'll be ugly, but they can kind of get there. I'm also extremely high on Ron Holland. Like, I think Ron Holland has way more potential. When I watch Pistons stuff, Holland is the one who jumps off the page for me defensively. I know how good Asar is, but Holland jumps off the page in terms of what he can do. And the athleticism, he can handle a little bit. Like, Ron Holland's got like a little bit of handle in terms of being able to manipulate, especially in transition. I'm pretty high on what he could add. Now, you can also space by being a guy who can get downhill. And if they jam it, that's where you kind of have to be able to compensate with shooting. I think it's going to be delicate for them. It'll depend on how much JB Bickerstaff is willing to let worse defenders on the floor.
Haize, last word on this. When you look at this roster, the upgrades that they made, some of the changes that they made to the roster, like what needs to happen for them to get over the hump?
Progression from both Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren. They need to make another step, even Asar Thompson. So I think you have some natural development on there. But you're going to need the shooting and, like Matt said, the spacing to be more legit, especially in the playoffs. So you get that, plus, Dalen and Cade playing better in the playoffs. I think that this team can make an Eastern Conference Finals this season.
Cade Cunningham needs to make a layup. That's the thing that needs to happen. They need Cade Cunningham to make a layup. Like, seriously, like, his layup ability is not good enough for where he's at in this league. If Cade gets better at absorbing contact, which forces them to either foul him or let him score, that's going to put Cade Cunningham not only back in that MVP conversation, but higher.
He's gotten better at the things that he's been asked to get better at. Hey, you need to get better at being a pull-up shooter from 3. Okay. And then he did that last year, and I do think that the focus has to be on the finishing for him. And like I said, he's gotten better at the things that he's been asked to get better at before. No reason to think he can't do it again. If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA Daily wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thanks to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network your first listen. We'll see you back here tomorrow for more Locked On NBA Daily.